Welcome to the Documenting NEPA Categorical Exclusion course, brought to you by the Local Programs Office of the Washington State Department of Transportation. The first module will present basic NEPA concepts and our program overview for federal fiscal year 2020. There are multiple modules hosted on our website, so be sure to watch them all. During this course, you will learn how to provide documentation for NEPA categorical exclusion decisions. We will also cover recent changes to both the regulations and the CE form over the last year. The hyperlink included in this slide takes you to our website where you will find our CE form, CE guidebook, and other modules in this series. We update the CE form and the CE guidebook by October of each year. The topics in this course module, as well as the CE guidebook, all follow the order of appearance on the CE form. We will not cover every topic on the CE form in this course, but the CE guidebook covers each subject in greater detail. Both the Word and PDF versions of the CE form are available on our website. The Word version allows you to expand the text fields and may be more appropriate for more complicated projects. NEPA unnecessarily inspires fear and dread in many project engineers. This course will hopefully demystify NEPA and make it seem more approachable. Our NEPA documents make a legal argument as to why we need to spend public money on an identified problem using the specified solution. If litigated, we never lose based on the outcome of an action. The legal question is, did you follow the process? We are here to guide you through that process so that you can successfully proceed with your projects. NEPA stands for National Environmental Policy Act. It is triggered when there is federal involvement in your project. For your projects, this is most often federal funding. The key ingredient in all NEPA documents is the purpose and need statement. Sometimes this is simple. For example, it could read, "Replace structurally deficient bridge." Other, more complicated projects may require a few pages of text to explain. We will get more in-depth on that later. The analysis level of effort varies depending on the nature of the project. For simple projects, the CE form itself can suffice. However, for more complicated projects, they will require additional backup documentation. We will discuss this in depth in the other modules. There are 3 levels of NEPA decisions. This course addresses the CE level, represented by the large green space in this graphic. CE level projects are not expected to have significant impacts on either the built or the human environment. The next level up on the pyramid is the environmental assessment. This level is for projects where we don't know if there will be significant adverse effects. It has a process that is described in Appendix C of the CE Guidebook. In the last 10 years, we've seen only 5 of these at local programs. The tip of the pyramid represents the environmental impact statement. These documents are reserved for projects where we know from the beginning that there will be significant impacts. These are extremely rare. The process for this level is described in Appendix B of the CE Guidebook. Enough of the theoretical. Here is how to get the work done. First, contact your region local programs engineer. These are located in Spokane, Yakima, Wenatchee, Vancouver, or Shoreline, depending on your location. We encourage agencies to schedule NEPA kickoff meetings for complicated projects. And yes, we can do these virtually over Teams as well. We can review draft CE forms and backup documents as you complete them, so please send them in for review as you get them done. We are all working remotely at this point in time, so there is no need to send in paper files. For the CE form, we accept digital signatures like DocuSign, Adobe, etc., and we will be digitally signing the CE form as well. Next up, you will learn about those rare, unusual circumstances.
Most of this course focuses on the role of Washington State Department of Transportation, but the Federal Highway Administration also has a role in the process. NEPA environmental impact statements or environmental assessments will require extensive federal highway involvement. The WashDOT Local Programs regional engineers will be your primary point of contact and will manage your coordination with FHWA on these projects. FHWA has entered into a programmatic agreement with WSDOT, allowing WSDOT to approve most categorical exclusions on Federal Highway's behalf. Federal Highways still retains signature authority on a small number, this year it was 3%, of projects categorically excluded from NEPA. Federal Highways approval was required due to an unusual circumstance or because the project type was not specifically listed in the CE regulation. You can find the list of Federal Highway categorical exclusions in Appendix A of the NEPA CE Guidebook. Even when WSDOT approves the NEPA categorical exclusion, Federal Highway may need to approve documents related to other federal environmental regulations. We'll be talking more in other modules about the details of these other regulations. In some circumstances, WSDOT can act on Federal Highway's behalf to comply with these laws, but the following still trigger a Federal Highway approval. Any impact on park, recreational, or historic properties protected by Section 4F. Adverse effects on cultural resources protected by Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. And actions likely to adversely affect listed threatened and endangered species. Your agency's NEPA responsibility doesn't end when your NEPA document is approved. Here are the reasons that you may have to reevaluate your NEPA document. You make a change in your project. This includes design changes, but also things like identifying a staging area you hadn't previously studied. Changes in the areas surrounding your project, such as a new housing development being constructed since you finished your studies. New federal laws or regulations, particularly those related to permitting. A new endangered or threatened species or critical habitat being listed or designated under the Endangered Species Act. And finally, even if no other changes have occurred, if more than 3 years have passed since the last federal action on the project, and those actions would be federal approval of NEPA documents, right-of-way acquisition, or construction, a reevaluation will be required. We do reevaluations to keep our NEPA documentation current. For higher-level NEPA documents, we're deciding if we need to prepare a supplemental EA or EIS. But as long as no new significant impacts are identified, a reevaluation will simply update the documentation and reaffirm our previous decision. There's no set requirement for the format of a reevaluation. Typically, local agencies document the updates on the CE form, checking the reevaluation box at the top of the form. Another option is to prepare a memorandum. Memorandums make sense when the change is very limited. An example would be reinitiation of ESA consultation because of a new listed species. If nothing else has changed, there's no reason to update the rest of the CE form. The memo would document that the consultation was updated and that the CE remains valid. Whatever the format, the reevaluation must be approved at WSDOT headquarters. Regardless of the format of your reevaluation, it must answer these questions. What change triggered the reevaluation? A good place to put this on the CE form is to add a paragraph to the previous project description, clearly identifying what has changed. If the change is to the project design, explain why the change was made. Identify which environmental disciplines are affected. Keep in mind that if a lot of time has passed, you may need to confirm that your traffic projections are still valid. Often a reevaluation that is initiated for some other reason requires updated traffic, which can mean that air and noise and other analyses dependent on the traffic data need to be updated as well. Include these updates and any additional documentation as needed. If you're doing a memorandum, be sure to add a statement concluding that the prior NEPA determination is still valid.
By October 1st, 2021, our program processed 136 CEs. 22% were reevaluations, and only 3% required FHWA signature. Total duration of the NEPA process this year was roughly 6 months from start to finish, excluding reevaluations. Turnaround times at headquarters are faster now that we are accepting digital signatures. We are often seeing same-day approvals. Thank you for watching this module of the Documenting NEPA Categorical Exclusion course. There are other modules available on our website, so be sure to check them out.